Hey everyone, welcome back to English Vibes.
Hi, we're glad you're here today.
I'm John.
And I'm Maya. We're here to help you practice speaking English naturally.
If you enjoy our videos, don't forget to hit subscribe and give us a thumbs up.
Yes, please. It really helps us. So today, we're talking about something important, how to discuss trauma and problems.
That's right, this is a sensitive topic, but it's important to know how to express difficult feelings and talk about challenges in English.
Life isn't always easy, and sometimes we need to talk about hard things. We'll teach you respectful, supportive language for these conversations.
Exactly. So let's get started. Maya, why is it important to be able to talk about difficult experiences?
Well, talking about our problems can be healing. When we share what we're going through, we don't feel so alone.
That's true. Keeping everything inside can make things worse. But talking requires trust and the right words.
Right. And if someone shares something difficult with you, it's important to respond with empathy and support.
Empathy means understanding and sharing someone else's feelings. It's about listening without judgment.
So let's start with how to express that you're going through something difficult. What are some ways to begin that conversation?
You might say, I'm going through a tough time right now, or I've been dealing with something difficult.
Those are gentle ways to open up. You could also say, I need to talk to someone about what's been happening.
If you're talking to a close friend, you might say, can I be honest with you about something? Or I need to get something off my chest.
What does get something off my chest mean?
It means to share something that's been bothering you, something you've been keeping inside. It's like a weight you're carrying.
That's a great expression. So once you've started the conversation, how do you actually describe what happened?
It depends on what you're comfortable sharing. You can give details or keep it general. You might say, something traumatic happened to me, or I experienced something really difficult.
If you want to be more specific, you could say, I lost someone close to me, or I went through a breakup, or I had a health scare.
These phrases help you share without having to explain everything immediately. The other person can ask gentle questions if you want to talk more.
What if the trauma happened a long time ago? How do you talk about past experiences?
You might say, something happened to me years ago that I'm still dealing with, or I experienced trauma in my childhood.
Or you could say, I've been carrying this for a long time, or this is something from my past that still affects me.
Those phrases show that even though something happened before, it still impacts you now. That's completely normal with trauma.
Absolutely. Trauma doesn't have a time limit. Now let's talk about describing how you feel. What are some ways to express difficult emotions?
You might say, I'm struggling, or I'm having a hard time. These are simple but powerful ways to express difficulty.
You could also say, I'm not okay right now, or I'm really overwhelmed.
If you're feeling anxious, you might say, I've been feeling really anxious lately, or my anxiety has been really bad.
For depression, you could say, I've been feeling depressed, or I'm going through depression. What about other emotions?
If you're feeling numb, you might say, I don't feel anything anymore, or I feel disconnected from everything.
That's a common trauma response. You could also say, I feel empty inside, or I'm just going through the motions.
If you're having trouble sleeping, you might say, I can't sleep at night, or I keep having nightmares.
Nightmares are really difficult. You could say, I have bad dreams about what happened, or I wake up in a panic.
For flashbacks, you might say, I keep reliving the experience, or it's like it's happening all over again.
These are serious symptoms. If you're experiencing these, it's important to seek professional help. Speaking of which, how do you talk about getting help?
You might say, I think I need to talk to someone, or I'm considering seeing a therapist.
If you're already in therapy, you could say, I'm working with a therapist, or I've started counseling.
You could also say, I'm getting professional help, or I'm in treatment. There's no shame in any of this.
Absolutely not. Getting help is brave and important. Now, let's talk about how to respond when someone shares something difficult with you. What should you say?
First and most important, thank you for trusting me with this, or I'm glad you felt comfortable sharing this with me.
That acknowledges their bravery in opening up. You could also say, I'm so sorry you went through that, or that must have been really hard.
These show empathy without making assumptions. What should you not say?
Don't say things like, just get over it, or it could be worse, or everything happens for a reason.
Those minimize their pain and can make them feel worse. Also avoid, I know exactly how you feel, unless you've experienced the same thing.
Even then, everyone's experience is unique. Instead, you could say, I can't imagine what you're going through, but I'm here for you.
That's perfect. You're acknowledging you don't fully understand, but you're offering support. What are other supportive phrases?
You could say, you're not alone in this, or I'm here to listen whenever you need.
Or take all the time you need, and there's no rush to feel better. Healing isn't linear.
That's so important. People often feel pressure to get over things quickly. You could also say, it's okay to not be okay.
Great phrase. You could add, your feelings are valid, or what you're feeling makes complete sense.
Those validate their emotions. What if someone is crying while sharing?
That's natural. You could say, it's okay to cry, or let it out. Don't tell them to stop crying. That's their body processing emotion.
You could offer tissues and just sit with them quietly. Sometimes presence is more important than words.
Exactly. You could say, I'm right here, or you don't have to talk if you don't want to. I'm just here with you.
That's beautiful support. Now, what if someone shares something really serious, like thoughts of self-harm? How should you respond?
First, take it seriously. Never dismiss it. You could say, thank you for telling me. I want to help you stay safe.
You should encourage them to seek immediate help. Say, I think we should contact a crisis helpline together, or can I help you reach out to a therapist?
In the US, the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline is 988. In the UK, it's Samaritans at 116-123. Every country has resources.
If someone is in immediate danger, you can say, I'm worried about your safety. Can we call for help together, or even call emergency services?
It's better to act and potentially save a life than to stay quiet and regret it. Real friends intervene when necessary.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about boundaries. Sometimes people share more than you're equipped to handle. How do you set boundaries kindly?
You could say, I care about you, but I think you need professional support that I can't provide.
Or, I want to support you, but I'm not qualified to help with this. Can we find someone who is?
You're not abandoning them, you're recognizing limits. You could add, I'll be here as your friend, but I think a therapist could help more.
That's caring and honest. You could also say, I'm feeling overwhelmed. Can we take a break and come back to this later?
It's okay to need breaks. You can't pour from an empty cup. Taking care of yourself helps you support others better.
Exactly. Now, let's talk about different types of problems people might discuss. We covered trauma, but what about everyday struggles?
People might talk about work stress. They could say, work has been really stressful lately, or I'm burnt out from my job.
Burnout is serious. You might say, I have no energy left, or I'm emotionally exhausted.
For relationship problems, someone might say, my partner and I are having issues, or my relationship is falling apart.
Or for family problems, things are tense with my family, or I'm having conflict with my parents.
Financial stress is common too. Someone might say, I'm struggling financially, or money has been really tight.
You could say, I'm worried about paying my bills, or I don't know how I'll make ends meet. Health problems are another difficult topic. Someone might say, I've been dealing with health issues, or I got some scary news from my doctor. You could say, I'm facing a medical challenge, or my health hasn't been great. How should you respond to these everyday problems?
Use similar supportive language. Say, that sounds really stressful, or I'm sorry you're dealing with that.
You could offer practical help. Is there anything I can do to help? Or how can I support you?
But be specific if possible. Instead of vague offers, you might say, can I bring you dinner this week? Or would it help if I watched your kids for a few hours?
Concrete offers are more likely to be accepted. Vague, let me know if you need anything, often goes nowhere.
True. People in crisis often can't think of what they need. Making specific offers is more helpful.
Now, let's talk about asking for help yourself. Many people struggle with this. How do you ask for support?
You might say, I'm not doing well and I need help, or I can't handle this alone anymore.
You could be specific. Could you help me find a therapist? Or would you be willing to just listen for a bit?
For practical help, you might say, I'm overwhelmed with my to-do list. Could you help me with anything?
Or, I'm having trouble getting out of bed. Could you check in on me tomorrow? That's asking for accountability.
These are brave requests. Remember, asking for help is a sign of strength, not weakness.
Absolutely. It takes courage to be vulnerable. What if you're not ready to talk about something in detail?
You can set that boundary. Something difficult is happening, but I'm not ready to talk about it yet.
Or, I appreciate you asking, but I need some time before I can discuss it. That's perfectly okay.
You could also say, can we talk about something else right now? I need a distraction.
Good friends will respect that. You might add, I'll let you know when I'm ready to talk about it.
That leaves the door open for future conversation. Now, let's discuss language for checking in on someone. How do you ask if someone's okay?
You might say, hey, I noticed you seem down lately. Are you okay? Or, you haven't seemed like yourself. Is everything all right?
Be specific about what you've noticed. I've noticed you've been quiet in our group chats, or you've canceled our plans a few times.
That shows you're paying attention and genuinely concerned. You could also say, I'm worried about you. Want to talk?
Or keep it open. How are you really doing? That really invites honest conversation beyond I'm fine.
What if someone says, I'm fine, but you don't believe them?
You could gently push. Are you sure? You know you can talk to me, right? Or, it's okay if you're not fine. I'm here if you need me.
You could also say, you don't have to be strong all the time. Or, it's okay to admit you're struggling.
Sometimes people need permission to not be okay. Giving them that space can help them open up.
Definitely. Now let's talk about self-care language. How do you express that you need to take care of yourself?
You might say, I need some time for self-care, or I need to prioritize my mental health right now.
You could say, I'm taking a mental health day, or I need to step back and recharge.
For setting boundaries, you might say, I need some space, or I need to limit my social commitments right now.
Or, I can't take on anything else right now. Or, I need to say no to protect my peace.
These are healthy boundaries. You could also say, I'm putting myself first for a while, and that's not selfish, it's necessary.
Absolutely. You can't pour from an empty cup. How do you talk about your healing journey?
You might say, I'm working on healing, or I'm in the process of recovery.
You could say, I'm taking it one day at a time, or some days are better than others.
For progress, you might say, I'm making progress, even if it's slow, or I'm proud of how far I've come.
Those acknowledge growth while being realistic. You could also say, healing isn't linear, or I have good days and bad days.
That's important. People often expect healing to be straightforward, but it rarely is.
Right. You might have setbacks, and that's normal. You could say, I thought I was doing better, but I'm struggling again.
Or, I'm having a rough patch, but I know it will pass. That shows hope along struggle.
Beautiful balance. Now let's talk about supporting someone long-term. What can you say to show ongoing support?
You might check in regularly. I'm thinking of you, or just wanted to see how you're doing today.
You could send a message, no need to respond, just wanted you to know I care. That removes pressure to reply.
You could offer, I'm always here if you need to talk, or my door is always open.
For ongoing struggles, you might say, I know this is hard and I'm still here, or I'm not going anywhere.
That consistency is so valuable. You could also say, I'm proud of you for getting out of bed today.
Yes, acknowledge effort, not just results. I know brushing your teeth took all your energy today, and that's okay.
These recognize that during depression or trauma, basic tasks can feel impossible. Validating that is powerful.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about hope and encouragement. How do you offer hope without toxic positivity?
You might say, this is hard now, but you won't feel this way forever. Or, you've survived hard things before.
You could say, I believe in your strength, or you're stronger than you know.
But avoid, stay positive, or just think happy thoughts. That dismisses real pain.
Right. Instead, you could say, it's okay to feel what you're feeling, and I'm here through it.
Or, you don't have to be positive right now. Just focus on surviving today. That's realistic and supportive.
Perfect. Now let's do our vocabulary review. We've learned so many important words and phrases today.
First word, trauma. Trauma is a deeply distressing or disturbing experience that can have lasting psychological effects.
Trauma can come from many sources: accidents, abuse, loss, violence, or natural disasters.
I'm still processing the trauma from that car accident.
Next word, empathy. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another person.
Empathy means putting yourself in someone else's shoes and feeling with them, not just for them.
She showed empathy by really listening without judging me.
Next, therapist. A therapist is a professional trained to help people with mental health issues, emotional problems, or trauma.
Also called a counselor, psychologist, or mental health professional.
I've been seeing a therapist weekly to work through my anxiety.
Let's explain overwhelmed. Overwhelmed means feeling like you can't cope with everything happening, too much stress or emotion at once.
When you're overwhelmed, everything feels like too much to handle.
I'm so overwhelmed with work, family issues, and everything else right now.
Next word, burnout. Burnout is physical, emotional, and mental exhaustion caused by prolonged stress, especially from work.
Signs of burnout include exhaustion, cynicism, and reduced effectiveness.
I'm experiencing burnout and need to take time off to recover.
Next, boundaries. Boundaries are limits you set to protect your mental and emotional health.
Healthy boundaries help you say no to things that drain you and yes to what nourishes you.
I'm setting boundaries by not checking work emails after 6 p.m.
Let's talk about validation. Validation means acknowledging someone's feelings as real and acceptable, even if you don't fully understand them.
Validating someone doesn't mean you agree with everything, just that you recognize their feelings are legitimate.
Thank you for validating my feelings instead of telling me I'm overreacting.
Next word, healing. Healing is the process of recovering from emotional or psychological pain.
Healing takes time and isn't linear. You might have setbacks along the way.
I'm on a healing journey after my divorce.
Next, self-care. Self-care means activities and practices you do to maintain and improve your mental, emotional, and physical health.
Self-care can be simple: taking a bath, reading, exercising, or just resting.
I'm practicing self-care by taking time for myself each day.
Last word, support. Support is help, encouragement, and emotional backing you give to or receive from others.
Support can be practical, emotional, or just being present with someone.
Thank you for your support during this difficult time. It means everything.
So we learned trauma, empathy, therapist, overwhelmed, burnout, boundaries, validation, healing, self-care, and support.
Those are 10 essential words for talking about difficult experiences and mental health.
These conversations aren't easy, but being able to express yourself and support others is so important.
Remember, if you're struggling, please reach out for help. Talk to someone you trust or contact a professional.
And if someone trusts you with their struggles, listen with empathy and without judgment.
Now it's your turn. We have a question for you.
Write in the comments what self-care practice helps you most when you're going through a hard time.
Is it talking to friends, exercise, therapy, journaling, rest? Tell us in the comments. We love hearing from you, and your ideas might help others too.
Thank you so much for watching this important video. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already.
And turn on notifications so you never miss a video.
Keep practicing your English every day. You're doing amazing.
And remember, it's okay to not be okay. Reach out when you need help.
Take care of yourself and each other. See you in the next video.
Goodbye, everyone, and be kind to yourself. Quick vocabulary review. 1. Trauma. Deeply distressing experience with lasting psychological effects. 2. Empathy. Ability to understand and share another person's feelings. 3. Therapist. Professional trained to help with mental health issues. 4. Overwhelmed. Feeling unable to cope with too much stress or emotion. 5. Burnout. Exhaustion from prolonged stress, especially work-related. 6. Boundaries. Limits set to protect mental and emotional health. 7. Validation. Acknowledging someone's feelings as real and acceptable. 8. Healing. Process of recovering from emotional or psychological pain. 9. Self-care. Practices to maintain and improve your well-being. 10. Support. Help, encouragement, and emotional backing. Important resources. If you're in crisis, U.S. National Suicide Prevention Lifeline 988. UK Samaritans 116123. International findahelpline.com. Remember, you're not alone. Help is available. Reaching out is brave. Practice these phrases with compassion. Be kind.